though.
So interesting, in fact.
Oh yeah. Well, welcome back to LiveWire. This is Ray, and I'm gonna let Peter introduce. Well, damn it. Go ahead.
This is Peter, man. What's up? This is my usual introduction.
You know, cause he got a little salty the last.
This
time,
is Peter, man.
You know.
LiveWire.
This is him.
What's up?
And who else we got in here?
This is Andy.
Woo! Andy, it's been a minute.
It's been welcome back. Welcome back. It feels like you're just a neighbor borrowing sugar right now, just stopping by. You know, like.
Dang. Because he's black?
It's been. Damn. Not even. Well, you know, now that you put it that way, you know.
Feels good to be back.
Feels good.
Feels good to have you back.
Damn right. Damn right. How do I say this? We're gonna go in and a little more intimate with this. This is the digest, focus, and discuss aspect of our LiveWire podcast. When we go a little deeper into the films, you know, like talk a little bit of background. So I mean, I think we started with like Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Outta Compton was in depth.
Yeah, so we started doing that with Straight Outta Compton. You and me did that for The Visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so this movie is one of the most highly anticipated films of the year, or was one of the most highly anticipated films of the year. It has a very big history and a background going on over the course of the last year or two. And it happens to be one of the best films of the year. Which movie are we talking about?
Talking about Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. I mean, you know, Steve Jobs is an innovator. He changed the world. He changed the game. I mean, my house is full of Mac. Your house
Apple
full of
products. Yep.
Yeah.
MacBook.
I got two fucking.
Got the iPhone 6 on deck.
Yeah, right. I got the 5S, but you know where we're going.
Apple TV.
We got the Apple TV. We got the MacBooks. I don't have an iPad
I
yet.
do have an iPad, actually.
There you go.
I hardly use it, but I have an iPad.
We gonna get them Apple Watches real soon, Steve. I know the spirit of Steve Jobs, but you ain't got the Apple Watch, though. You know, what's up with that?
And you know I'm Beats heavy with mine, you know what I mean?
Yes, but I don't think
Apple, what's up?
I don't even think that's a Steve Jobs thing, but you know.
You know what? Low-key, I just want to, this is like a little note, little footnote. To be honest, Steve Jobs actually interviewed Dr. Dre when he was, quote-unquote, making Detox. And says, will you have it out this year? Oh, yeah, we pulling it out this year. I think this was back in like 2003 or 2004. I don't know what Apple had popping at that point, but
iPods.
I think it might have been iPods actually.
That was the birth of the iPod.
I think it was because he was actually like interviewing. He was like doing FaceTiming with like Bono and stuff, and so yeah, he FaceTimed with Dre. So. Needless to say, they were gonna have a partnership with Beats. That's dope.
Let me stop you right
That's
there.
dope.
Though. Let me stop you right there. FaceTime? There was no FaceTime.
Or whatever. Like he was doing some interface. No, seriously,
right.
He was doing some interface with them.
It was like
he had a panel of I don't know, college students, and they were actually like, I guess like a hybrid version of FaceTime.
Right.
You know, he was just like talking to Bono and like I said, Dr. Dre. But it was just kind of foreshadowing the move with Dre with eventual Beats, and now he's aligned his company with Apple, so that's kind of dope.
It's funny that you mentioned that because exactly what you said, something like the FaceTime thing. You know what I mean? Like it's back in those times. You know, it was really hard. I mean, we thought of that as only like people at NASA could have that type of shit. You know, like, or computers back in the day, like the good ass computers we thought back in the day, that's for the scientists, that's for the NASA, for the real hard edge people. And Steve Jobs made it his mission to make sure that everybody gets that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he revolutionized the computer, of how we use it, how it's become so compact and accessible. I mean, it's just crazy. I like how the film opens up on like archival footage of, I would say maybe the 50s or the 60s.
It looked like that, yeah. I don't
this
know
guy explaining of how we're going to use the computer. And it's kind of crazy how he kind of like foresees the future of how we're gonna be so dependent on it.
Right. And that's the opening. That's the opening.
That sets the opening of the film.
Right. That sets I mean how we it's like the opening, but it just shows you how much we've changed.
So it shows you how far we've come and accomplished.
Damn right.
And it's still like it's still evolving. It's becoming different things every year.
It's almost going a little too fast for me. It's kind of scary sometimes. You know how fast things.
It's crazy how these babies are gonna get. They're just gonna be raised on these devices.
My little cousin, she knows how to swipe and
My son, he's barely gonna be 1. Knows that when I give him the phone, he swipes through my phone like crazy.
Oh, you see? Hey, they don't know the struggle back in the day. I had the Nokia.
Yeah.
In high school, I had the Nokia with the
snake, with the snake,
or snake, yeah,
centipede, whatever.
And like the ringtones were like a ding 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 ding.
Yeah, ringtones
ding,
were heavy for us in high school.
It meant something.
It did.
Now people don't give a damn
assigned
about
ringtones and stuff to people.
Now we're talking about how old we are and shit. Let's go into the movie.
Yeah, let's not date ourselves.
Let's go into the movie. Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs is not your typical biopic. You want that, you go to that Ashton Kutcher shit. Okay?
Jobs.
Jobs. And that's what it was a suitable title because it felt like work watching the movie. Like,
I feel like they could have that's how they had people apply for that film. It's like, you need a job. Jobs. Come to job.
And they had Ashton Kutcher, and I saw it. I don't know if you didn't see it, right, Andy?
I haven't seen it.
But did you see it?
No, but to be honest,
you have no interest.
I have no interest, but to be honest, I guess they just trying to capture someone who looks eerily like him when he was young.
Mm-hmm. And it did not work. But it wasn't Ashton Kutcher's fault. It's just that Steve Jobs is not your typical human being. Mm-hmm. He's not your typical. He's crazy. He's a very interesting figure. And you can't put an interesting dynamic figure like that in a uninteresting formulaic type of movie. Mm-hmm. Like the genre of a biopic is, everybody knows the genre of the biopic. It's done time and time again. Some are good, some are bad, regardless. But it's the same old story. Somebody in a rough upbringing, they want to change the game. They change the game. They get the credit. Then they,
it's the fall and rise.
The rise and fall and rise, and then the redemption. Mm-hmm. And Jobs was just boring and tedious because there was nothing interesting, and it was first time directors, first time writers. And to capture somebody such a prevalent figure like Steve Jobs, they were in over their heads, for sure. But Aaron Sorkin, we know Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin, man, I can hear his words all day, every day.
It's like music when it comes.
It really is. I was explaining to my wife, who really couldn't get the concept of this film, and how I think she was really trying to look for a biopic of beginning, middle, and end. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of it plays with that, it toys with it. It's very experimental in that aspect.
Very.
Where you're not following your average narrative.
It breaks the rules.
It breaks down certain aspects in this man's life.
Yeah,
and especially when it comes to Apple products. I guess this is based on three
Apple launches. Or three launches.
Apple
I won't say
launches.
Apple, but
three launches. Right.
Because one of them is not Apple.
But there's just the whole film hits certain notes like music does. So it basically takes the genre, or rather just the film, and makes it into music, makes it into this piece of art where you have to dissect it.
Right.
So.
And I was telling Andy the screenplay is so just interesting, but it doesn't play like a movie does. It plays. It's like a Broadway play. You're watching a Broadway play happening. And it's just filmed. This movie also reminds me a lot of Birdman, because it all most of this movie takes place in the backstage. Of the situations. You never really catch you barely catch any footage of
the actual
launch, the presentation itself. Right. It's all about the backstage, the drama, not just the build up, but everything that's going on in Steve Jobs' life. His wife or his baby mama and his daughter. You know, you got a co-worker with Steve Wozniak who's just saying, you know, give my boys credit. Give
the Apple II team their just due.
And you got another one. I forgot his name. Andy Hertzfeld, right? Michael Stuhlbarg's character.
Right.
With, you know, like his dynamic and his, you know,
the CEO of Apple, John Scully, played really well by Jeff Daniels.
Ooh, love me some Jeff Daniels here, man. For this performance, I forgive him for Dumb and Dumber 2. Like, I forgive this man. Jim Carrey ain't got it yet.
Yeah,
Jim Carrey's still on that bench in the corner on timeout, like staring at the wall, like. But right
with
after
the
watching,
dunce cap and all,
yeah.
You know?
But Jeff Daniels, after watching this movie, I came back and I was
he's like, I'm done with timeout. It's time to work.
Yeah, like you can get up now. You can get up. Jim Carrey tried to like get up, like no, not you though. You stay right there.
Yeah,
you stay right there
where you belong.
You know, and this movie, like we said, this movie isn't your typical biopic. It breaks those rules, and obviously, it tries to do something different. Like, usually biopics try to do their best on making sure that these movies, like, they work or they tell the story as it is. You know, like, oh, this really happened or this really happened. You know what I mean? Like, Straight Outta Compton worked its best to try to keep everything, like, factual. Wink, you know, like, wink, wink. Not this movie. Like, Aaron Sorkin said... I read I know about Steve Jobs' life. I read these biography books. I'm just gonna cram it all into this script. I don't give a fuck if it's facts. You know, like, we're not here to watch facts. We're here to watch. You know, we're here to watch this movie.
What I like about Aaron Sorkin so much is he takes a piece of source material and really just runs with it, makes it his own. Like he's like, well, this is a palette that I'm gonna work off of. And you're going to see me present you with these historical figures, just like with
The Social Network.
The Social Network.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's another one of his joints, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Aaron Sorkin's got some hitters, man. Aaron Sorkin, he wrote The Social Network. He wrote Moneyball. With somebody else, Steve Zalian, I think. And he wrote this one, but he also he had that HBO show with Jeff Daniels,
the Newsroom.
The Newsroom.
Oh yeah.
And he also I believe he did The West Wing.
Yeah, he wrote The West. He was creator and executive producer for it.
So you know, everybody talked like, you know, a fucking brilliant ass, genius, smart ass in that show. That's why I couldn't get into the Newsroom.
He started off with A Few Good Men. That was his first writing credits.
Not one of my favorites. But hey, everybody's got to start.
It's a monumental film. I mean, people they quote it. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, but
that's Aaron Sorkin right there.
I know. I want the truth. Like, yeah,
you can't handle the truth.
But I think Social Network was his creme de la creme.
It was.
Like, I always believed that The Social Network was our generation's Citizen Kane. And a lot of old ass people probably gonna laugh at me when I say that. You know what I mean? But I do believe that The Social Network was something of an important historical movie for us because things have changed in the world, you know, like from how it was back in the day. Now everybody is on Facebook. Facebook is not just a website that you go to. Facebook is kind of like a living entity, a part of your life.
Yeah.
You know, like literally.
People, businesses,
right,
marketing.
Your grandma.
Yeah, I mean, just your average Joe. But, I mean, it's just...
and it killed MySpace like that.
Yeah, dude.
Killed
Swept
MySpace.
under the rug like nobody's business.
And it's funny because while there are other websites like you know, or other services like Twitter, you know what I mean?
Other social networks
other
like
social
Instagram.
Networks, yeah, Instagram.
You got your
Twitch.
Snapchats, but it feels like it's like here today, gone tomorrow. It still feels like Facebook's just gonna have a place etched in history.
right,
as being the number one, place
and Aaron Sorkin captured,
meet
I think Aaron Sorkin captured the history of it perfectly, and the drama that came out of the creation of Facebook.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, obviously, like you said, not a lot of this shit was extremely factual.
No, yeah, he really takes source material and presents you with this amazing story,
right,
of Steve Jobs, the man, but also the people that helped him create the things that we take for granted nowadays. So
yeah, like Matt,
and that includes it was like she's like an assistant to him or executive.
You mean Kate Winslet's character?
Winslet, Joanna Hoffman.
Yes,
who was supposed to play Polish.
She was, bro.
To be honest,
her
Polish goes in and out. I've noticed it,
bro.
A little bit.
A little bit. I think no. You know what? I think it was.
I mean, it's not Angela Bassett in Notorious, but I mean,
woo, that was in and out. That was more in and out than Kevin Kline.
That was.
But
nice.
You like that?
I liked it.
But because I saw this, I just came out of watching this movie, and this movie, her performance, I believe.
Oh no, I mean her performance is stellar. Everybody is though.
No, but her accent, I believe, because I was paying attention to it, and I think the thing was that throughout the movie, she had it, but very subtly. I think that the moment that it really came out was in the third act when she just finally broke down and just went at Steve Jobs. When she finally
coming at him very personal.
Yeah,
coming
when
from a very personal
it's
place.
Almost like she just let it out and she couldn't control herself. And I think, I think that was an actor's choice rather than like her, trying to.
And you could say that it's just her character, which I don't know the woman that she plays very well.
Chrisanne, no, that's not her. Joanna Hoffman.
But maybe it's just like she's just being American, quote unquote American, and donning an American accent. She's probably been here most of her life, so I mean maybe it's just Polish mixed in with her American. So.
You don't think you're having a bizarre overreaction to a 19-year-old girl allowing her mother to list her own house?
She could have tried.
She's supposed to stop her mother, that particular mother, from living.
She gave Cassandra her blessing to sell the house, and she did it despite me.
I don't care if she put a pipe bomb in the water heater. You're going to fix it now.
She's been acting weird for months. She's turned on me.
Fix it.
What the?
Fix it, Steve.
Take it easy.
Fix it, or I quit. How about that? I quit and you never see me again. How about that?
Tell me what's wrong with you this morning.
What's been wrong with me for 19 years? I've been a witness, and I tell you I've been complicit. I love you, Steve. You know how much. I love that you don't care how much money a person makes. You care what they make. But what you make isn't supposed to be the best part of you. When you're a father, that's what's supposed to be the best part of you. And it's caused me 2 decades of agony, Steve, that it is for you. The worst. It's a little thing. It's a very small thing. Fix it. Fix it now. Or you can contact me at my new job, working anywhere I want.
So, Andy, how'd you feel about this one? How'd you feel about the performances, man?
I really like the performances, man. I just, I was trying to stay up because I've been tired. But
that's true. You've been driving all day, right?
No, just from
work too, right?
Yeah, work is killer.
Driving.
What I appreciated was just the performances and the writing.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I just like the way, the words rolled off of the characters and the motions and everyone delivering.
It's almost like rhythm. It was almost like rhythm. It was like beat for beat for beat.
Yeah, it was hitting every note basically.
And I loved how exhilarating it felt.
Watching it.
It really,
and hearing
like
it.
I was telling you, I was just like, as I was watching the movie, I'm like, there's a scene where Jeff Daniels and Michael Fassbender are going at it, and then after that scene is over, I was like, this is like the equivalence like of Captain America going against the Winter Soldier, but in dialogue. Like, to me, it was as epic as an action sequence.
And then it's just like Steve Jobs, how many, his douchebag comments, and he's being a dick.
He was Iron Man.
Yeah. That is Iron Man.
If you want a parallel.
That is Iron Man.
The Marvel Universe.
Fucking Jeff Daniels was Jeff Bridges.
And then just watching the movie, seeing all the old computers, like
watching the history.
My dad had that.
The Macintosh.
The history, man. The history. This movie showed a lot of
floppy
history.
Disk. In the front,
Oof.
It's just crazy how we've come so far. Just how like it was like this like really bulky, mini little box, and then it's just totally changed. It's by design. It just keeps evolving into something more compact and
looks nice.
Yeah,
looks cool.
Right.
So what you guys think about Michael Fassbender's performance? He does not look like Steve Jobs.
Yes.
The
only thing that is against him is none whatsoever resemblance to Steve Jobs. But that really doesn't really matter because he acts his ass off. I am a big supporter. I'm a huge fan of Michael Fassbender.
Me too.
Every time he comes out,
I'm a day one Michael.
I'm
a day one Michael.
Keep it 100 with you.
I got Hunger. I saw Fish Tank.
Yeah.
I noticed you in 300. I remember you.
I always forget about him in 300, but you always bring him up that he was that guy in 300.
I'm a day one, man.
You saw Jonah Hex?
Yes, I saw Jonah Hex for Michael.
Day one right here.
I saw Jonah Hex for Michael. You know what I mean? And we saw Shame in theaters.
Shame. Oh man, I think Shame was really the game changer for me. I think that's when I was like, I'm gonna pay attention to every single movie that this guy does after seeing that film.
Yeah,
what was the slave joint? I can't think of the name.
Yeah, no, it's from the same writer, and director.
Right? Hunger.
No. 12 Years a Slave.
12 Years a Slave.
12
Years a Slave.
Yeah, no, Hunger, 12 Years a Slave, and Shame is from the same.
Shame really put him on the map because Hunger put him on the map on an indie level because it was such an unnoticed movie, but whoever saw it was amazed by his performance. And then Tarantino paid attention to that performance because he put him in Inglourious Bastards.
That's right.
Things like that, and
then First Class. He had to hit him with.
Oh,
yeah.
You gotta hit
Magneto.
For the comic nerds.
To be honest, you played a really good Magneto.
You know what? All these artsy movies, and I forget about X-Men
He plays
First
Magneto,
Class,
man.
which Days of Future Past is amazing. Now, in Steve Jobs, I mean, I thought he deserved the nomination for Shame for sure. He got a nomination for 12 Years a Slave. And here comes another performance, another winner.
Yeah, he's headlining it though. He
carries the movie on his back, and he doesn't look like he's sweating one bit.
I think Shame was just a little bit too indie, a little bit too. It's NC-17, so you're not pulling the audiences.
I think he just had a little too much dick. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to give
his.
Yeah. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
And then 12 Years a Slave he plays a great supporting role. But not someone that's amiable and you're going to be like, we really should give him the award.
Could you imagine?
Because he played the hell of a slave owner.
This is for all the slave masters.
This is for the whiteys.
We did it, baby. We did it, baby.
We love you. Oh, man, we can't. Oh, he can't win.
They're all standing up
we got one.
The Academy's already all white, so it's gonna basically look like a Ku Klux Klan rally.
Could you imagine? Now that because I was thinking,
you gotta think about these things, Ray.
I was thinking about it how come Michael Fassbender didn't win? But then
you gotta think about this. It was Chiwetel's film,
I was just thinking to myself,
wait. Let's be honest. Wait. Let's go back. Chiwetel, was he nominated?
Yeah, he was nominated.
Okay, good.
He was not.
I was gonna start right in this room if he wasn't.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I do not expect Fassbender to be forgotten for this movie.
Mm-mm.
You know, and
I'm just saying he's the front runner. So I really do think that he deserves the Oscar nomination. And to be honest, I havenesn't seen Leonardo DiCaprio. I always keep saying, Leo, don't let me down, yo. But
the Oscars, it's like the Oscars don't like giving it to him.
The thing is, I haven't seen him in it yet, but he has the greatest. Michael Fassbender, out of all the actors that I've seen this year in all the films that we reviewed. But like, I think I can agree with you that this is one of the best things I've seen this year, and it's because of Michael Fassbender.
I have to say, this is definitely my favorite film of the year. It's my favorite film of 2015, and we've been spoiled this year. We've had some great movies this year, you know, between you know, you got Mad Max, you got Ex Machina, you know, you got Inside Out, you know, and this one is on the list as well.
Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, Straight Outta Compton.
Well, I don't know why you keep forgetting. I mean, I remember when we reviewed it, Andy, you were there. You were there. Did he not?
It's on the wall.
It's on the wall right there.
It's like right in front. It's like sitting right in front of you.
It's directly in front of you, right next to the wall.
I was about to say like, oh well, I must have forgot about it.
How could you forget? It's like staring playing in the face.
Well.
You were there though, Andy. He said this one.
Okay. I said it. Okay.
Was it not part of his list?
All right.
There you go.
All right. It's one of the best films of the year so far, okay. But it might not make the top 10.
It might not get nominated. Let's be realistic.
No,
guys.
It's probably not gonna get nominated. There's too many movies coming out. I don't think so.
But let's get back to Jobs.
Yeah, let's get back to
Steve Jobs.
You know,
Steve Jobs.
Again, Fassbender, wonderful performance and how he grapples with the certain relationships. Like we said, this movie's not your typical biopic, but you never lose sight of the backstory of these characters. You really feel like there's a natural chemistry with all of them. Like they actually have a history together between him and Joanna Hoffman, played by Kate Winslet. You know, she's like the work wife. She says she's like the work wife. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and you always feel her, and she is a very important aspect to Steve Jobs, because I feel like she is the one that makes sure he doesn't become a complete monster.
Yeah, I want to say she keeps him in line. Mm-hmm. She actually is his like his voice, almost like you got to remember to say this, you got to remember to say that, you got to remember to.
She is the only
feel this, feel that.
She is the only thing keeping him from not be,
because he is extremely socially inept.
Right.
And she keeps him like, this is how you go about doing. These are feelings, people have them. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And she keeps him human and stops him from becoming a complete monster. Mm-hmm. You know, so her character and Kate Winslet, we already know Kate Winslet. She's another one of those heavy hitters. I started like thinking about
Titanic.
She's been around for a long time, right? And it feels like forever. And I'm like, dang, she must be like Sandra Bullock's age or something. Nah, she's just barely 40.
Yeah, I mean, she was relatively young when we saw her in Titanic.
Yeah.
But so was Leo.
She looks like she hasn't aged a bit.
No,
from
she
Titanic. She's still looking fresh.
Can we talk about Seth Rogen?
I was leading up to that.
I'm sorry.
My man Seth.
I'm glad you gave an introduction with that. I can't do it, but you can get that register. I can.
You know, and he's come a long way. You know, and you know,
he has.
And he was filming This Is the End, and he saw his man James Franco got nominated for 127 Hours. He saw his man Jonah Hill get nominated twice.
Yes.
Twice. He's like, where's mine? I want to make a good
I'm an
movie.
actor too.
You know, I want to act.
Yeah.
I want to say beautiful lines. Like Jonah Hill got an Oscar nomination from a Aaron Sorkin script.
Moneyball. Yep.
And Seth Rogen, I got to get my hands on this movie.
So Aaron, write me a good character.
Give me a recommendation.
Yeah.
You know. And how'd you feel about him? How'd you feel about Seth Rogen? He plays Steve Wozniak, the co-founder, and his appearance really is mostly like he wants to. It's almost like he's trying to make sure that Steve Jobs. It's like he's trying to give him advice on how to keep the job his position by teaching him show love to others, because if you don't show love to others, they'll backstab you.
Yeah,
they will throw you under the bus. It's a team
effort. So
right,
he really tries to, tell him to utilize your team. And Steve Jobs is just an innovator. I think he's always had that outlook in life where he's like, well, I don't need you anymore. It was a time in my life where we worked on something and we worked on something great. Now I'm doing this and I'm not doing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Seth Rogen as Steve Wozniak, and I saw a Comedy Central, I forget what show he was on, but he was saying how Steve Wozniak really liked how he was portrayed. So I don't think he veered.
I think Steve Wozniak got paid though. By the way, he's all in the trailers now.
Oh really?
This is a great movie. I'm like,
I didn't think he veered off track with his portrayal.
From what you saw,
to be honest, I think he's just naturally funny. So I think anything this fool says, I even caught some uproarious laughs, and I don't think he's really necessarily funny in this film. But no. he has lines that are funny where you can't help to escape the Seth Rogen-ness, I guess.
His persona.
Right. So, but he played Steve Wozniak with heart. I really feel I felt bad for this guy, for Steve Wozniak, who just really wanted Steve Jobs to acknowledge him.
What did you do? What did you do? Why has Lisa not heard of me?
Man, how many fourth graders have heard of you?
You can't write code. You're not an engineer. You're not a designer. You can't put a hammer to a nail. I built the circuit board. The graphical interface was stolen from Xerox PARC. Jeff Raskin was the leader of the Mac team before you threw him off his own project. Everything, someone else designed the box. So how come 10 times in a day, I read Steve Jobs as a genius? What do you do?
I play the orchestra.
And it's hey, we came in together, say, acknowledge me, make sure that my name stays in your mouth, and everybody knows that I was a pivotal role in Apple. And
it got to a personal point.
It really did.
It really got to a personal point when he tried to talk to Steve Jobs' daughter, which we'll get into in a little bit, and she just didn't recognize it, or she just didn't know who he was, and he took that personally, because they're the
he said, I've been around your dad,
yeah,
your whole
he's
life.
Been around her,
yeah,
and she just, we'll get into the relationship with the daughter in a moment, but yeah, it gets personal, it gets really, like you said, there's no respect into that. How'd you feel about him?
I mean, I've been watching Freaks and Geeks lately.
Oh, nice. I need to revisit that. It's been a while since I've seen that.
I've never seen it, but just seeing how he's grown from that to this.
Yeah.
It's just really incredible. And
thank the agent. Yeah, because he doesn't always hit out of the park.
I just think
ask Barbara Streisand.
What does that mean? Oh yeah.
You don't remember that?
That one movie.
That road trip movie. But yeah, go ahead.
I just think you call him a comedian. He's not a stage comedian.
I would like to say, well, he was at one point. You can find that stand up on YouTube. Do good. But he's a comedy actor. Okay. And he's veered off into a little more dramatic roles, but not too dramatic. We saw the ones Take This Waltz.
Yeah.
That's the one I mostly know. And a lot of people go well, the closest thing to drama I've seen is 50-50. But that's not really
But no, he was funny in that. You know,
he's the comedic backbone to that. While Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the drama.
Right.
I was gonna say, well, I just think everyone, every actor wants that serious role to really show that they could do it.
Yeah,
and that's what he pulled off.
And this is one, and you feel like he pulled it off because, you say that he has a lot of funny lines. I can't remember any funny lines.
No, well, not funny lines, but the way he delivers it is kind of you know, Aaron Sorkin writes so beautifully, but there's just this natural comedy about Seth Rogen where
the scene that I love him
you can't help but laugh. I think maybe just every time he laughs, you laugh.
The scene that I love him the most in, because I really like the performance, and yeah, like you got it on the money. You know, like he doesn't veer off too much, but he has such magnetism, and I think he has a lot of, like, he's really trying to prove that he can actually pull this off, and I believe that he did. You know, like, obviously they didn't want him to do something extremely different because they hired him because he looks, you know, like he can pull off the hair,
he's got the beard, and
he's chubby, you know, like not to the
he's like the perfect Steve Wozniak.
Yeah. So like they didn't want him to steer too far off.
Right.
You know, but still, like,
I bet you they're like, can you not laugh as much?
You know,
Aaron Sorkin's like, can you please not laugh, please? This is serious. I want you to stop that.
Stop! You're ruining my script. We'll voice over a laugh later on. It's like ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
But
you know what I want to say, like, because I'm not downplaying. I think he's great in this film. I especially like the last scene that he has with Michael Fassbender of I think it's the launch of the iMac.
Right.
And the whole you know, back and forth. The sparring basically back and forth. You know what's crazy? It came to a point where it was extremely sad for me because Seth Rogen just basically opens up his eyes of how, like, he's not, he's
never going to be.
He's right.
The number two, or he's never going to get credit. He's not even the number 2.
Right.
In the world of Steve Jobs.
And he really wants to be.
Guy.
He's really like, I'm your friend. First and foremost, that like I was a main confidant to you, and you spit in my face by not like answering a simple request of mine, like, and you come to realize that he's never going to.
Just want to be John Lennon, you know.
Right. I love that. I love that.
My favorite scene with Seth Rogen actually is not nowhere near that. It's the scene in the garage. It's the scene in the garage, the flashback scene. You know, and when they were talking about like how many ports the Apple II should have. You know, Steve only wanted 2, but he said, I'm going to put 6. And, you know, Steve was the only one that, Wozniak was the only one that said, no, I'm not going to do it your way. In the beginning, you know, like when, like he actually had the backbone to say that. And something about Seth Rogen just like really impressed me in that scene, you know, and that I've never seen this kind of side of him before. And to me, that moment to me was the winning moment for me. Right. That sold me. Right. You know, because we've seen the scenes. What do you do? What do you do? And you know, we've seen that in the trailers, and it's a great scene. Yeah. You know, but to me, this other scene was just more subtle and it's just more interesting.
I don't know if he was trying to capture mannerisms because I don't really know Steve Wozniak as well.
I think he tried to with the hand gesture.
He's very, but the thing is, like, you catch moments where he's very fidgety, plays around with his glasses a lot. But these are just like certain like details that he paid really close attention to. Right. And I think he pulls it off in his portrayal as Steve Wozniak.
Yeah, and he spars real well with Fassbender. You know, like, he sparred really well.
And he really made me feel for Steve. Like, I feel sorry for him the entire time. Like, I especially that last scene with him just made me low-key want to cry when he leaves him. You know, when he leaves the auditorium. So.
Right. So, moving on from Seth Rogen, let's go on to Jeff Daniels. Jeff Daniels, now, his character is John Scully, the CEO, and he has a more, like, you could say a more personal conflict with
He's his father. It's a father figure.
The father figure, yeah. The father figure that betrayed him, or that he felt betrayed him.
Isn't Steve Jobs initially, wasn't he adopted?
Right.
So I think he's always trying to find that that father figure.
And they talk about it through the film.
They do.
You know, they talk about the need of adoption and how it leaves the children that are adopted, and how it leaves them emotionally.
Something about being chosen or something. Right.
We have 45 seconds. I want to use it to ask you a question. Why do people who were adopted feel like they were rejected instead of selected?
I don't feel rejected.
You're sure?
Very sure.
Because it's not like the baby is born and the parents look and say, nah, we're not interested in this one. On the other hand, someone did choose you.
It's having no control. You find out you were out of the loop when the most crucial events in your life were set in motion. As long as you have control. I don't understand people who give it up.
And it's such a strong performance from Jeff Daniels that, you know, like, I know Seth Rogen did his best, but I feel like Jeff Daniels is gonna be the one that people are gonna say best supporting actor.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, and to me, the one-on-one in the middle of the film, you know, the middle section, the one-on-one sparring match between Jeff Daniels and Michael Fassbender, I feel like it's the most epic scene in the whole film.
And that was during the launch of the cube.
Yeah, the cube. Yeah, the black cube. The black cube. And, you know, Danny Boyle is such a dynamic director. He knows how to keep things alive and fresh and happening, everything. And he kept two sparring matches at once. You know, the flashback one and the one at the at the launch, and they were going back and forth. You know, and who was the composer? Because that was some magnificent work. Daniel Pemberton. I can't. You know, like, he was. Everything is just beautifully put in together that I was just blown away by this sparring match of brilliant acting, brilliant dialogue being thrown into the air, like, and the score is just keeps it really so tight and wound, like,
keeps the momentum going.
You know, and Jeff Daniels as John Scully is another figure that you kind of feel bad for, because in no way was he trying to backstab Steve Jobs, at least in this film. You know, I'm gonna say in this film, like, in the world of film,
right?
But he was just trying to do the right thing that he knew in business, and Steve Jobs never followed the rules. You know, so Steve Jobs took it upon himself to go against them. You know, like, to say, well, if you're not with me, you're against me. You know, like, and that Scully had to defend himself, but it wasn't like he fired him. Like you said,
it wasn't his decision.
It wasn't his decision, and yet people think that it did. And,
yeah.
And Steve Jobs.
You can allude to, like, well, was it? You know?
Yes and no. Yes and no. It was like,
I feel like that, like,
Steve,
especially in the film, like,
it's almost
you always
like
have that question mark.
In the film, it's almost like Steve Jobs backed him into a corner, and he had no choice but to defend himself. You know, like, you put a lion in a corner, he's gonna bite you. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I mean, it was such a tragic figure. I believe more so than Steve Wozniak, because at the end of the day, Steve Wozniak is always gonna be he was always gonna be protected by Steve Jobs. You know, not so much John Scully. He felt the wrath, and, you know, at the end he just failed.
And he still comes back, you know, for him in the last launch that is seen with the iMac.
Right.
Showing support, and, you know.
I believe it's a very, you know, well nuanced performance from Jeff Daniels, and it's just a very tragic character in this world. I mean, honestly, like, to put it, Steve Jobs in this movie, everybody but Steve Jobs is tragic. Like, get a tragic ending. I feel like there's only one character that doesn't get a tragic ending in this film, and it's the daughter. The daughter is the only one that gets a tragic ending. She had to fight for her attention while her baby mom is asking for some money. That baby mama be saying I'm on welfare. How the fuck you gonna be doing this shit to me?
That's crazy.
You're worth $400 million while I'm over here sleeping in a canoe or some shack or whatever. Like,
Jobs insists, I'm
I
quoting,
didn't invent math.
28% of the male population of the United States could be the father.
I wasn't saying you slept with 28% of American men. I was using an algorithm based on the blood test, which said there was a 94.1% chance that I'm the father.
You're trying to publicly paint me as a slut and a whore.
Believe me, I'm not trying to publicly do anything with you.
2 million people read Time. How am I
It would be
supposed
more if they put me on the cover, but Dan
I
Cocky
applied for
decided to
welfare
kidney punch
yesterday.
me. I'm sorry?
I said I applied for welfare yesterday. The Time article said your Apple stock was worth $441 million. And I wanted to ask you how you felt about that.
Well, I feel like Apple stock has been dramatically undervalued. This would be a good time to get in.
you know, and the daughter had the most challenging upbringing because she just wanted to be with a dad that just didn't want her, you know. Played by 3 different actresses. I'm not gonna go into it. I'm not gonna go into all 3 of them. But the youngest, you know, it's interesting how like the changes from each act are, you know what I mean? Like, at first it was just like he didn't want her, and he didn't even want to acknowledge her.
Yeah.
You know, but he was impressed by her. You know, he was impressed by her capabilities. You know, on the second act, it was just like he's gotten used to her. You know, he's willing to talk to her and everything. But it's almost like there's still this distance between them. You know, it's almost like he wants to be her mentor, not her father. You know?
Right.
While in the third one, it's more like the redemption story, and he's just really trying to be the father that he always knew he should have been. You know?
I think each actress like hits it's like a piece of music. It hits the right note. When she's younger, the first interaction with him where he gets a stamp of approval for her was interacting with the Macintosh and doing that painting.
Yeah,
and he saves
painting,
it. I think the second time we see her, they're talking about a song or music or how there's 2 versions of it, and she distinguishes between the 2, and then the end of it, she hugs her dad and says, "I want to live with you." And the
part
face,
got me, man.
the face Fassbender has right afterwards, his whole demeanor changes.
That part, you know what? That's one of my favorite moments because I'm watching the movie and I'm like, oh, this is a lot of fun. And then that scene just creeps up on you.
It does.
Like, it creeps up on you, and not
because they're both like very jovial, and they're like, you know, they have this like certain you know, love for this song. Yeah. And then she's like, I want to live. I want to come live with you. She just throws, you know. She just throws.
Goes
gives him a curveball.
Goes for the hug and got a tear out of my eye. I did not. I was just not expecting it. Like it made me. It softened me up a little bit.
And then the last time we see her, it's like he's, searching for her in the crowd at the launch, and she's like very reluctant to.
She was just tired. At that point, she was tired, and he was trying to prove. It feels like he was. Well, let me put it this way: it's like the first 2 acts. It's almost like the daughter's doing whatever it takes to be noticed. You know,
there's a disconnect, and she just wants his approval.
Right. She wants the approval, and she wants his love. I think that, you know how we mentioned that Wozniak said like, "Oh, hi, remember me?" You know, like. And as soon as he said that, Steve Jobs said, "No, she doesn't remember you." And then she said, "I'm sorry, I don't." I believe, at least to me, that how I got it, that she did. But for her dad, she said no. Right. You know? And, like, you get that in the kind of relationship. You know, like, and that throughout the first 2 acts, it's her just trying to get him to love her and get his attention. In the third act, it's the other way around.
Right. Yeah, like I'm saying, he's going after her.
You're right. Touching, man. Touching. And all three actresses, now I can say.
Yeah.
These actresses. I just don't know which one was which. But we got Ripley Sobo, Mackenzie Moss, and I do know this one, Perla Haney Jardine or Jardine. Jesus. But she Perla, good old Perla. She played Uma Thurman's daughter in Kill Bill.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah. I mean, it was the same hairstyle and everything. I haven't seen her. It says that she was in Spider-Man 3. I don't believe him. But yeah, I mean, she did a fantastic job. All three of them did. You know, the acting, it's just like, to be honest with you, I don't feel like there's any weak spot in acting. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, this movie has no weak spots. You know?
Yeah.
And the movie was such an underdog film. Because it was originally in Sony. I don't know if y'all knew that. And, like, it was the emails about how, you know, it was going to be with Fincher. They wanted Fincher directing, again, to an Aaron Sorkin script. And it was supposed to be Christian Bale as Steve Jobs.
Wow. That's just like...
You kind of wish, what if, right?
That's crazy.
Right.
I don't know if I see that. I mean, I see... After watching Steve Jobs, I think Fassbender really owned the part. I think it would have been kind of weird for me for Christian Bale. I don't know.
It took a lot of work for this film to get made, but once it finally got made, I think they made it in a very small amount of time, like a month, maybe around there, like just a month. And I think that they did a fantastic job, and I think a lot of praise goes to Danny Boyle, the director. I mean, the real star of the show is Aaron Sorkin's script.
Yes.
But Danny Boyle, you know, for a movie that's just so about dialogue, he knew how to keep it visually alive.
I think, I'm not saying that David Fincher would have been a terrible choice, because obviously Social Network was phenomenal. But Danny Boyle kind of captures what you're saying about an aspect of this film that was shot in so many days. He comes from that. He comes from these films,
he knows how to make
these
it
small
tight.
films,
Yeah.
like, you know, Trainspotting, 20 Days Later, The Beach, just these. Okay, well, Millions. You know, I'm just saying he just comes from these films that are small, and he just utilizes it.
You know
Sunshine.
what? Hold on, I'm sorry. I totally forgot he made Millions.
He made Millions, yeah.
That one about the little boy.
The little boy with the bag of money.
The little boy with the bag of money. Oh man, I don't remember liking it, but good for him.
I'm just saying he comes from like indie, but he really utilizes the space.
He does. Man, his visuals are there. You know, like in the middle of the dialogue, like there are a lot of scenes where like visuals just come alive, and they complement the dialogue very well, the moments and everything very well.
Yeah, I think Danny Boyle directing and Aaron Sorkin writing just hand in hand makes this film what it is.
Can we get another one, please? That's what I'm saying. Can we get another one, please? Can we get a Steve Jobs sequel? The launch of the iPod, the launch of the iPad, and the launch of Apple TV? No?
Can we get a death?
The what?
Yeah, we didn't cover his death.
Oh, yeah, but who cares?
Nah, you can't say that.
In our eyes,
can't say that.
No, in our eyes, he'll always be there.
Oh, okay.
With our Macs in hand, you know,
the iPhone's up.
Exactly. So let's
with the rating.
Let's go with the.
Is this gonna be unanimous? I'm wondering.
Let's see. I'm gonna let y'all go first. Let's go with Andy.
A strong third.
Say it. Give it up.
I give this a 5-star. This goes on the.
I
was saying, the douchebag genius list movies.
Next to Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Social
right.
Network.
Right.
We were talking about like we got Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg, who were also douchey creators, and I was telling them like.
I mean, we can probably think of some, but movies.
I was telling them. Remember Saving Mr. Banks, that the bitch that wrote Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently she was crazy.
I think geniuses are just crazy.
Yeah, like the guy from
innovators
are like the guy from A Beautiful Mind, right?
Right. I mean, you just think about what these people do. Is you can't help but think that maybe just a little bit.
Yeah,
not there. You know.
Right. So we got 5 stars.
5 stars.
Said, you know, in the mantle.
Gave it up. Is this your first 5 stars? I don't think Andy really like. I know he likes movies, but I think he really gives an average. You know, like he'll give the 3s and the 4s, but he doesn't give the full fledged.
Well, he liked it.
Really?
It kept him awake. Kept him awake. Any other movie would have put him right to sleep. You know, but Steve Jobs, it did it. It kept him awake.
Did you fall asleep in Fantastic Four? I forgot to ask you that. No. You were just
disappointed. But he was well.
You mad?
He was well rested.
You mad?
He was well rested with that one. You see? I think he just stayed awake because he was so mad. Like, all right, so let's go with you.
I'm pretty easy going. I'm gonna say full-fledged 5 stars for me, please.
Ring a ding.
I'm just saying, I love the cast. Aaron Sorkin, screenwriter, he's phenomenal. I just love everything he comes up with is just beautiful. Like it's just the craft is there. The craft is real.
Yeah, it is real.
And Danny Boyle as experimental director coming from an experimental movie, when you really look at it, it's just mind-blowing how much he accomplishes in this film. You know, with it being such, like, as you say, like, it just feels like an indie film, but in a larger scope. You know what I mean? So big ups to everybody, but full-fledged 5 stars. This is indeed one of the best movies, if not the best movie of 2015.
Oof, couldn't have said it better myself. So I'm gonna give this a 2 stars.
Oh, I do it. Hey, dude.
Nah, man. What can I say, man? Like I said, this is my favorite film of 2015 so far. So you know, what other? I know I gave Mad Max and Inside Out a 5 full 5 stars, but have I given anybody else a full 5 stars? What I get Straight Outta Compton? I know you
gave it 4.5. I gave it
4.5.
I was gonna side with you, but then you guys really just like made me give it a 5. So
okay, well, this is another one, another masterpiece, another 5 stars that, like you said, man, everybody complimented each other. Mm-hmm. This is not a movie that something overdoes the other thing. You know, like the music goes hand in hand with the directing. The dialogue goes hand in hand with the acting. Mm-hmm. Everything sets the stage beautifully. The script, I think, is a shoo-in already for Oscar. Yeah, shoo-in for Oscar. We don't need to look anymore, guys. Nope. We already know. We already know what's going on. If you gotta nominate 4 other just to nominate them, you know, like go right ahead. But we already know who's gonna win. Yep. You know, Aaron Sorkin's already writing his speech right now. You know, Danny Boyle. I think, you know, and I was thinking, I used to think back in the day, like, you know, one of my favorite directors, because he does everything so different but still keeps his own style, is Steven Soderbergh. Mm-hmm. I used to think he's great, but you know, Danny Boyle is just a level on top of him, I think, because he knows how to make even something as, you know, like something as an Apple launch and things, you know, such a small scale situations into such beautifully epic, you know, and a
like
live
I said,
film.
He utilizes the space. Right,
he does. And masterful performances from Fassbender, Winslet, and Daniels, and very impressive performances from Seth Rogen. And Michael Stuhlbarg was great too. We don't mention Michael Stuhlbarg, but he has great moments in there too. And the woman, the actress that played his baby mama, what's her name? Catherine Waterston. She's very impressive too. Small roles, but incredibly impressive. You know, and this is one of the movies that needs to be seen. It's not, you know, like, I don't know if I want to say you need to see this movie, because it's breathtaking. It's exhilarating. Mm-hmm. It's the most action-packed movie of the year. You know, dramatically. I mean, this movie to me stands toe-to-toe with Mad Max when it comes to excitement. Mm-hmm. You know, like, it's just a different kind of excitement, but it, you know, in no way is it less exciting. Mm-hmm. you know, and it needs to be checked out, you know. It's too bad because not a lot of people are seeing it. It's not doing so well.
14 mil. It was made for 30 mil.
Yeah, it's not. I'm hoping that come Oscar season, you know, they'll re-release it or something, and it gets its steam back and whatnot. That's what I'm hoping for, because right now it's not looking so fresh. But yeah, 3 5 out of 5s, so you know it's a winner. Well, yeah, that's it for today. Anybody got anything to say? No.
It's good to see Andy.
Yeah, it's good.
It was a good message on, you know, like treating your friends, co-workers, and family too.
Yeah.
I mean, not what not to do. I'm not
say,
saying to treat them, you know, like crap or not. You know what I mean?
It's saying like don't backstab them. Yeah. They'll fuck you in the end. They'll Steve Jobs.
Give credit.
Give credit.
Spend time with your baby.
Yeah. Give credit where credit's due.
Yeah. And don't laugh like Seth Rogen, because it didn't. I don't even think it made it into the cut.
Aaron Sorkin's like, please
stop. You didn't like that tape? I can do it again. What do you do? All right, man. Well, this is LiveWire. If you give us some comments, if you need any questions, our Twitter is RayRayMK, RayReimk. Yours?
It is PETEYMK.
Okay. And yours?
Andy Mack.
Would you like to spell that?
ANDYMACKK.
And we out.
At 9:41, the planet's gonna shift on its axis 9 forever. 2 most significant events of the 20th century. The Allies win the war, and this.
You can't write code. You are not an engineer. What do you do?
The musicians play the instruments. I play the orchestra. I sat in a garage and invented the future. Because artists lead and hacks ask for a show of hands.
I love that you don't care how much money a person makes. You care what they make. But what you make isn't supposed to be the best part of you.
You're the only one who sees the world the same way I do.
No one sees the world the same way you do.